And welcome to Padre's Ponderings.
Good morning, good afternoon. No, it's 1 o'clock.
It's not morning, but
No, it's not morning. That's blew by.
it really did.
Trey's busy. How are you today? Big week.
Yes, it is.
Taking the big bird.
I know, taking my child to college.
In California. Yes, long way away.
So lots. Today, I got to tell you, this is hilarious. Well, not really, but just kind of fills in with my week, how my week is going. So I had a Zoom meeting today at 10 o'clock, but I thought it was Wednesday at 10 o'clock. So I was getting ready and get an alert on my phone, someone has joined your Zoom meeting.
Uh-oh.
And I'm like, oh, was I wrong? Yes, I was.
What?
So I was thinking the 24th was Wednesday. It is not. It was Tuesday.
So you had to do.
So I jumped on the Zoom meeting, all natural, and but it was my friends. So they giggled and they understood. We prayed together and had our meeting to plan for the women's event, the end of September.
And tell me again about the women's event.
Tara Lee Cobble is coming from Dallas, Texas. She has a podcast. And she has over 1 million subscribers.
Whoa.
And it's a podcast of reading through the Bible chronologically. It's called the Bible Recap. It's really, really well done. She's a fantastic speaker. So we've rescheduled this. I think this is the third time.
Because of
COVID. Yes. So anyway, we are moving forward with it this time.
We're moving forward.
We are moving forward. So Satan, get behind us. We're having the event.
You know, I think that's the thing. You gotta look at this after a while. As you know, we can plant our feet in cement and stay where we were. And this is to do anything with life. Stay
Right.
where we were. Or we can say, all right, that's where we were, but it's not where we have to stay. It's not where we have to be. And then, by God's grace, have a vision for the future. This is where we're going. See? And you're never going somewhere if you're standing still. It doesn't work. Doesn't work.
So we've adapted a little bit. We were going to have it in the chapel, but we've moved it to Cross School's gym so that we can spread out. So anybody you can sit where you want. You can spread out however far you want to make yourself feel comfortable.
Got the big screens in there?
Yes. So that's going to be great, I think. So it'll be a Friday night and a Saturday morning in the end of September.
Childcare?
We do not have childcare because I want the people that usually do childcare to be able to attend.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So you've got plenty of time if you need childcare, though, to arrange something. Yeah. So.
Maybe that's the kind of thing several ladies could go together and.
Oh yeah.
And get the children pizza and have it all worked out that way. That'd be great.
Call in the grandparents and tell them it's time to come visit.
Yeah. Or
To help take
the
care of the
husband.
kids. Or the spouse can certainly do that.
That's
Absolutely.
exactly right.
Yeah, so that's exciting. Not that I missed my meeting or had the dates wrong, but that's kind of how my week's gone.
Yesterday was a day of a little bit of a deliverance.
Okay.
On Thursday, I had my whole day on Thursday blocked off to go to Charleston for a dean's meeting and I love to.
This coming Thursday or last?
This coming Thursday.
Okay, that's a full day affair.
That's hours, 2 hours going up there,
Right.
2 hours coming back, if you can work the traffic right, otherwise
Right.
it's 3 hours, 2 hours in the meeting, and the day's blown. Got a call, it's gonna be moved to Zoom.
I'm a big fan of Zoom.
I tell you, for this kind of meeting, Zoom, we've been doing it on Zoom for a year and a half,
Right.
so I'm fortunate that's a gift of time, and the time is huge.
So see, this morning, I had my time wrong. If it had not been on Zoom, I would not have made the meeting.
Well, that's right.
So
That's right.
I was able to join right
That's
from
right.
the
You
dining
know, and
room.
I think this whole thing with Zoom is something that we've picked up during the COVID. We would not have picked it up if it hadn't been for that. And all of a sudden, we're realizing that there's some advantages to that thing.
And there are some
and
options.
from my perspective, it's The advantage is more participation for many folks who couldn't otherwise come. And the convenience of being able to participate in all different kinds of ways is huge. And the time that it saves. Phew. Nothing can take the place of in person, and I'm not saying that.
Right, but it's a nice alternative.
It's a nice alternative, that's right. It's a nice alternative. Yeah. So, but I'm hustling, staying busy. Phew.
Lots of people joining.
Got 10 families joining this week. 10 families
10
this
families.
week. This week.
I know
Praise
we're going to
God.
have to start moving. We used to announce new members in the e-news about quarterly, I guess. We're moving now to monthly because you just can't, you can only fit so many names.
That's right.
So in this week's e-news, there will be the names from July. So then we'll put in August in a couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We maybe just ought to go ahead and bite the bullet and put July and August in there next week.
Well,
So September will start.
The July list is like this. So.
Yeah, July was big too, wasn't it?
Yeah, which is fantastic.
It really is. Praise God. You know, I think that's one thing sometimes that a lady joined the church this morning, and she said, "Now, well, I have to come up in front of the church to join." And I said, "Well, now, if you did that, which service would you come up in front of?"
That's true, and that's a good point.
And that idea of welcoming people to the church family comes from if you're in a small church, you have one service, everybody's here, you know. There's going to be somebody else here now, you know. But when you're scattered over multiple locations and a lot of different service types, that doesn't work any. So again, you got to get on that web page. That's huge, huge, and it's getting huger as we're getting bigger. So that's good.
Yeah, events I'm adding literally daily for different things that are coming up. Men, they're having Low Country Boil. The Men of the Cross is kind of restarting or hit and restart after COVID, and they're doing a kickoff with a free event, Low Country Boil, outside on the bluff. So that'll be really nice. That's September 17th. It's on Friday night.
September 17th.
That's a big day in our family.
You know what?
Well,
Two reasons.
2 birthdays.
2 birthdays, that's the reason.
So it was my grandfather, your father, and my brother.
Yep, September 17th. Good day, Friday, it's a Friday.
It is a Friday evening, and it's outside on the bluff, which is really nice. So hopefully, I guess if there's a rain issue, then you just move to the parish hall.
Just go inside.
Which is fine too.
We'll just go inside, yeah. That'd be good.
Yeah,
And then
Kevin
they'll start
Severe's
having
cooking.
regular meetings after that.
And then they're going to start monthly gatherings, and then that'll move into other areas like discipleship groups and different things like that.
Yeah.
So
And Rod Musselman is taking the big lead in that, and
got a great group of
Josh Lake is working with that as well. Yeah, very excited about that. Very excited about that. Got my next sermon ready.
Well, the sermon on Sunday that I heard twice was fantastic, very timely. Pastor Josh did Identity Crisis.
Josh does a good job. Nathan does a good job. Jonathan does a good job.
I listened to that one twice. It really resonated with me about the Pharisees and how we try to get people to conform to what we consider to be right or wrong, and not necessarily God's commands. So I've listened to it twice on Sunday in both services.
And you can go on the
I'm going to go
webpage
back
and-
and I'm going to print off the sermon notes, because I didn't do that before. I'm going to print off the sermon notes and listen to it again.
And anybody can do that.
Anybody can do that.
Print off the sermon notes.
This morning I loaded Jonathan's sermon notes for this coming Sunday. He'll be at the historic campus. Still working through Psalm 23, and this one is
Gotta be getting close to the end.
yeah,
Surely goodness and mercy.
it just slipped me. Just slipped my mind. Evil. Evil.
I will fear no evil,
I will fear no evil.
for thou art with me. Or just I will fear no
I
evil.
will fear no evil, yes.
Okay.
So what's your sermon on?
From ruin to
That's right,
restoration.
ruin to restoration, and that'll be Labor Day weekend?
That's right. On historic campus over here the following weekend, I believe.
In Acts?
Book of Acts. Yes, 16th chapter. Book of Acts. John Mark deserting Paul. So, and how we all betray our relationships and the ruin that causes on lots of different fronts, and how by God's grace those relationships can be restored. Touching on that a little bit with the Bible teaching in Elijah too, how Elijah let the Lord down and that relationship was restored. That'll be coming up in October. Yep. So there's a lot happening. I'm excited about all that.
I know, man, the list of people that are going to be taking part in the Strengthening Your Journey, that list is growing daily. That's wonderful.
I look forward to teaching that again. Didn't do it last year or year before.
Right, it's been since
shut down 2 years.
2019, I guess.
Yep. So I look forward to that. Doing show and tell on the historic campus.
What's your favorite part of that to talk about, teach about?
I like the show and tell just because that's an unusual approach to things, and people, you're dealing with things that people see but they didn't understand. A lot of things they didn't even see. And then I like the part about the sacraments. I like talking about baptism and communion like that. And we got that river baptism in there too,
2 days later, yeah.
2 days
September
later.
7th.
And I'm thinking I might go down to the water. I haven't been down the water for a while, but
Oh my gosh.
if I can get enough help, keep me upright, I might get down those
Let's
stairs.
see
We'll
if Becky's watching right now.
We'll see. We'll see. But I like doing the sacraments part of it. Yeah, I like doing that. And what is church membership? I like doing that too. And Jonathan does a great job with the history, so.
So you just like the whole,
Yeah, I like
the
it all.
whole series.
I like it all. And,
Yeah.
and I like too, it's an opportunity for people to come together and learn something about what they all hold dear. It's just they don't often understand, what it's all about. And the thing is, as they get in touch with the depth of it, it heightens their joy of it even more. See, much more. Yeah. So I like talking about those things. That is just talking. I'm not, I've got a PowerPoint presentation I'll use with it some, but it's just talking. It's not like a textbook deal. It's not that way. So people who've been through something like that in another church, it'll be different for them.
Right. And I think the great part about this is for people new to the Anglican tradition specifically,
Mm-hmm.
and we have a large number. I wonder what the percentage is of people raised in the Episcopal or Anglican Church that attend. It would
About
be
1%. Teeny.
That's what I was thinking. It would be
Teeny.
very, very small.
Oh yeah, way, way small.
So to understand the difference.
Yeah, we have people from everywhere, all different faiths and no faith, and it's kind of a, I don't know, kind of like a low country boil. There's all kind of stuff in the pot.
There is a lot.
There's all kind of stuff in the pot.
There is a lot in the pot.
There's a lot
There's
in the
a lot in the
pot.
pot.
But that's the
pluribus
thing.
unum.
The flavor doesn't come from any one thing. It comes from everybody
Out
together.
of many, one. Yes.
It comes from everybody together. That's wonderful.
Judy Ponder has a question. Will the men's Saturday morning breakfast begin soon? Judy, they're going to switch it up a little bit. The Low Country Bowl will be a Friday night, and then in October there's going to be a cookout, I believe, and which is another evening, and then in November they'll do a breakfast, but it won't be a breakfast every month. They're going to kind of move around the times and locations to try to reach more people.
That's good.
Great question. It used to be called Men's First on Third,
So
but Saturday morning is hard for some people too.
And I think that's a good way to look at that. Is some people can do an evening, some people can do a morning, some it's a midday, and the place is so diverse now. One size doesn't fit all.
Right.
It just doesn't do that. Same way with your women's ministries and small groups, all the rest of that. We have to grow smaller as we grow larger. And the smaller, you get the men together in the morning who come in the morning, the ones in the other, everybody can't be there at the same time. So that's why they have different tee times in golf, you know. I used to play golf.
You used to play golf with 2 golf clubs.
Hey, you know what I did yesterday?
That used to drive James crazy.
Unstopped the toilet. Up there by the houses, Jonathan came to me, the toilet was all stopped up. He said, I didn't do it.
I'm sure
So
he's
then
glad you're
he
sharing
tried
this.
to work the plunger, and you know, and he couldn't get the thing going. So called Regina about getting the plumber in here, and I went there and got that plunger and worked that thing out. Worked it out. And Jonathan was surprised. He was surprised.
He thought you would have never done it. He has no idea the things you used to do in
Let
former
me tell
life.
you, yeah. Here's the thing. Once you have put your arm
Oh, gosh.
up to your
I know where
shoulder
this is
inside
going.
of a cow to pull a calf out, you can do anything. What is a stopped-up toilet? What is a stopped-up?
This is a very
You
good
can
point.
do anything. Yeah.
He hasn't always worn this.
No, the old boy's been around a few moons. Yeah, done much.
I think I actually saw when y'all moved into your house, in the top of your closet, you still have your work boots from the barn.
I do.
From the farm.
I sure do. Yeah, those are good boots. I forget what the make of them was.
Red Wing,
Red Wing.
wasn't it?
I forget, but
We used to buy them at that store in Sumter, Jack's.
Red Wing. But they're tough, and they had a steel toe in them.
Right, which you
that
need.
was really important. Really important. The cow step on your foot, that's not good. But yeah, those are great boots.
So you still got some of those skills.
Oh yeah.
can unstop a toilet.
Always got the skills. Gee whiz, come on.
Good afternoon, Phyllis. You popped in at just the right time to hear about toilets and cows.
Hey, got 2 funerals this week too. Got Joanne Ennis Friday at 2 o'clock, and then Shirley Cannon Saturday at 2 o'clock. Really special ladies. Joanne was 89.
Beautiful woman. Oh my goodness. She would
Gentle
come
spirit.
and before COVID, sat in front of me on the front row at Cross Point, and she would just sing and always had a really pretty hair clip in her hair, and just the sweet, sweet, sweet woman.
Old school Southern Baptist. She knew her Bible. Mm-hmm. Fervent prayer warrior. Dealt with lots of adversity in her life. Raised 3 children. School teacher. Special lady.
And Shirley,
Whoa.
where do you even begin? Precious woman, spirit-filled.
Mm-hmm.
One of my first experiences around Shirley Cannon when we moved here was she was slain in the spirit during a service.
Shirley was a dear, dear person. Worked at the Beaufort Hilton Head Hospital for years and years. Worked in the accounting area over there for years and years and years. I tried to talk to her about retiring because the pressure was getting, as the hospital was bought out.
Sure.
I think Tenet or some big conglomerate bought it out. The pressure just kept getting higher and higher and higher, and then, you know, the insurance got tougher to work with. Just so many of those things started colliding, and she was a perfectionist, you know, and her boss told her one time she had to take time off because she was having heart problems, and the doctor said it's just from stress. So she had to take some time off. So she came back to the hospital, and her boss said, "You have to be content. You always want to make Cadillacs. You have to be content to make Chevrolets." I thought that was a good line. And so from that time after, you know, anytime I would speak to her about how's your job going, I would say, "You work on those Chevrolets or the Cadillacs?" And she wanted to stay working. She was single. She wanted to keep working. Her husband had died. I'd buried Bob on the bluff out there. She wanted to keep working until she was 70 so she could maximize her Social Security benefits. But she didn't get there. That brain tumor, rapidly growing.
Very aggressive.
I forget it was a name to it, ganglioma or something or another. Anyway, rapidly growing thing, and she didn't make 70.
She was pivotal in our healing ministry, prayer ministry.
She was
Oh my
big in
goodness.
Cursillo as well. But she did a lot of individual one-on-one ministry that was just between her and the person. She walked with people. She was a great confidant.
Great friend.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Jonathan's doing that. I'll be there, but Jonathan is doing that.
And that, she passed away during COVID times, and when we weren't doing funerals, actually.
That's right.
So her family's coming down, and they'll do the service now. So hopefully, many of you watching will be able to attend.
And her ashes be buried down the bluff by her husband. Yeah. Things change.
But man, what a legacy she left.
And that's the thing.
For
Her
so many of her
legacy
friends and-
was in the lives of the people she touched.
Right, and we're
And that's
to
the only legacy that counts, really.
carry that on, yeah. Every time I hear the song Waymaker, she immediately comes to mind, because the last healing service, this I guess would have been right before we shut down, she was there. And
She was already bad on the cancer
She was
then.
in a wheelchair, not doing well, and she came and she shared her testimony from that wheelchair, and she sang Waymaker
Whoa.
in Spanish, because she was really, had been down to Peru several times.
Yep.
And worked with missions down there. So I will forever, when I hear that song, she immediately comes to mind, and that visual of her in the wheelchair, hands up, singing Waymaker.
Wow. Wow.
So she touched many, and we are called to do the same.
Amen.
And to carry her legacy on, that's for
Amen.
sure. Judy's talking about Shirley as well. She did an amazing job speaking at the monthly healing service. Sweetest smile and words of encouragement.
Yep.
That is so true. So, hey, next, big announcement coming in the e-news this week. You're going to write it?
Give me
Someone's
a clue.
going to be added to our staff on September the 1st, and that person is going to be sitting right here on Tuesday.
Because you're going to be
So
frolicking in
you can-
California.
I'm not saying that, so that you can interview that person,
Elizabeth Markle.
Elizabeth Markle. So if you don't know Elizabeth, tune in next Tuesday, because you will get to learn about her. I tried to explain to her there's no script. That he just is going to ask you questions.
Elizabeth's a dear person. She's,
Oh, yes.
I forget how many years she worked with us. Like 3 or 4 years she was with us before she went with Cross Schools. And then she was with Cross Schools, 10, 11, 12 years, something
I
like
think
that.
so. I want to say it might have been 13.
Might have been. So she's a dear friend to the parish
Oh, absolutely.
for a long time. And then she'll be here next week, and then she'll come on September 1st, and she'll be working with all the different pastoral care kinds of ministries as a coordinator for that. That lady joined this morning who wants to get into the friendly faces and hospital visitation ministry, and I said, just hang on.
Hang on,
Elizabeth's coming.
because, yes,
Elizabeth's coming.
and there are restrictions in place again for that, but maybe there's a way we can work from a distance with some of that.
But we can train people, we can get people
Sure.
set up and form groups and all that kind of stuff, so when COVID comes, we can get in there. But yeah, they've shut down a lot now with that. But we're going. We're going. I'm working on my article.
For the e-news?
Yeah, because I'll just put a little blurb about Elizabeth, but working on my article on that. An old gospel song
Okay.
has been in my mind. The title of it is An Uncloudy Day. You ever heard that song?
I don't think
Oh,
so.
they tell me about an uncloudy day. No. You might Google that.
I might. So it's called Uncloudy Day?
And Google, if I remember correctly, Willie Nelson made a big recording of that, but it's an old gospel song. Old gospel. He did a gospel album. I might do one of those one day. But anyway, on uncloudy day. They tell me about an uncloudy day. You know, it's talking about heaven, see, and how we have our clouds and things here. Anyway, I'm going to just write a little bit about that because someone told me last Sunday after I said it's a beautiful day in the Low Country. Said you always say that, but it is not always a beautiful day. See?
It's all based on perspective.
It really is, see? And
I think when I'm sitting on my porch and it's pouring rain outside, that's beautiful.
So it is all about perspective. And so I want to say a few words about that, you know. And it's beautiful regardless of whether there's clouds or not, but some people, you know, there's a lot of mess going on now. There's no doubt of that. And you can see all that as clouds if you want to, but it really does cloud the way you see the day. And there might be a lot of mess going on, but there's more good than bad always. But it's what you choose to see. It's your perception of what reality is. And we've got too many people that are seeing clouds and not seeing the sun, S-O-N. So I'm going to kind of get into that a little bit, see if I can plumb the depths of that gospel. Oh, I dreamed of it.
Sounds like something maybe should be sung at 528.
Mm-hmm. Be that kind of thing. Yep.
Send that to Howard.
Yeah. Good idea.
I need to go back to 5. It's been a while since I've been to 528.
Yeah, well, I dream of an uncloudy day. Yeah. Good idea. Tell Howard about that.
Okay. I'll look it up and then I'll send
Willie
it to
Nelson
Howard.
singing An Uncloudy Day.
Okay.
That'll lift you up. Yeah.
I was able to be in service at the chapel on Sunday, and I'm not usually in service, sitting in the pew. Sometimes I'm serving in different areas during that time. But it was I'm sitting up in the balcony. It's a very nice service.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did you think it was not going to be a nice service?
Well, I'm just used to being at Cross Point.
Oh.
So it's nice. I encourage people to shift gears sometimes, try a different service.
I think that's great.
Getting on your knees. There's something about getting on your knees and that.
Try a different service, sit in different places. It just gives you a different look at
and perspective.
Different perspective because after a while you begin to get stale in the way you look at things, and after a while you see things that aren't even there, but they maybe used to be there. But you really have to work at seeing what you see instead of seeing what you think you see. Mm. Because, you know, we tend to see things based upon what we have seen before. You know, if you have this quizzical look like, what in the world is he talking about?
I never know where you're going.
But, you know, all right, what does heaven look like? Well, you're going to describe heaven in terms of things you've seen before.
Right, the known.
That's the way you think, and that's the way you speak. You come out of what you have experienced before to describe what you think. But that's not always true. See, in fact, most times it's not. We tend to see in others what we've seen in people before. We tend to look for things. And you know, you can find bad in anything if you want to.
Oh, absolutely.
You find good in anything too, if you want to. But if you're living under the clouds, you're going to find the bad in everything.
That's true.
And you're not going to be looking for the good. And some people love living under the clouds, the dark clouds. They love that poor pitiful me deal.
Yeah.
So sad.
I want to share...
Willie Nelson uncloudy.
No, I'm not looking that up right now. I want to share an email I got about the food bank just right before popping on. And yesterday we had 164 people were served. We have not seen a car line like that since midsummer a year ago.
Really?
Mm-hmm. What's that say? They were concerned that they would not have enough food, but they did. Urgent needs. So here's some specific urgent needs. Canned vegetables, soup, jelly, oatmeal, pasta, cereal, and baked beans. So those shelves are completely empty. So that's an urgent need and an urgent request. So 164. Haven't seen lines like that since last summer.
Speaking of baked beans.
Okay.
One of the major innovations in London was Selfridge's department store.
Okay. Yes.
And there was another one over there, H&M, Hudson and Mark or something. Anyway, it's a famous thing. And it's exclusive stuff. Boston baked beans was the first American import that
To a major department store?
It's a specialty food store and all that kind of stuff. But the first American import they put in there. And what was amazing about it was they were already cooked.
Right,
So
you could eat them cold.
Yeah, so it was this idea that here's it's like a prepackaged meal. People in England never seen anything like that before. And it was dynamite. It was dynamite. Have you seen that commercial from that guy on television that used to say dynamite?
That was from the show Good Times.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, the man that used to be that would say dynamite.
I can't remember his name.
No, I can't remember
It's a
it either.
comedian.
He was a comedian. Now he's doing commercials for Medicare.
Oh my gosh.
He and Joe Namath is making those commercials now, you know. Anyway, he's making them now.
Okay, well,
He's old.
how
He
did you
really looks
know,
rough.
where did that knowledge of the baked beans come from?
I read.
But what book would that have been in?
Well, on that, I saw that on ETV.
Okay, so one of those,
And they were
one of those
talking
specials.
about,
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, it was about London. So anyway, it got into the idea of Selfridges, that huge department store, that was an American import. So there was nothing like a department store in London. And that thing is huge, it's still there. And then another American import was in I can't think of the name, H&M, I want to say now. Anyway, they're famous for their wicker baskets, they're sent all over the world. But it was a totally London British store. So the idea that they would import something from the United States, like the idea of the department store imported, that here was this food from the United States imported into a very British place, and it just went crazy. But it was like the first prepackaged meal. It's in that store is where the Queen gets her tea from. Yeah. Just a little fact. I bet you could go online and order something from there too.
I bet you could, but you can go to baked beans at Publix or Food Lion and grab some.
But it showed a picture. They had taken
bank.
those cans of baked beans and made this big pyramid that just went up and up and up and up and up. And the people were buying them right and left. Yes, sir. Prepackaged meal.
I do like baked beans.
And those were just baked beans. It wasn't the beanie weenies where you had the little extras
It's a full
in there.
meal in a can.
That was the full meal, yeah. You know, your granddaddy used to like Vienna sausage and saltines.
I know it. He also ate sardines
Yeah.
too, and crackers.
I didn't get into all that.
All right, well, anyway, you can go get your baked beans and take them to the food bank this week because
Yeah, that's right.
that's a
That's where we got-
crucial
that's where we-
need. That's how we got
That was
on
a
the baked
jumping off
beans.
point, wasn't it?
Yeah. So
No diapers this week at the food bank.
we always need diapers and wipes, but that's not an urgent need. Urgent need is for those food items because the shelves are empty since we had so many people come through.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah.
Craig Pelly is heading that ministry, doesn't he?
Greg Pelly starts September 1st leading that ministry. Jim Dorsch does the devotionals that go out. So I love this. He goes to service on Sunday, listens to the sermon. He has a notebook and he takes notes during the sermon, goes home, writes up a devotional based on his sermon notes, and then he'll send it for us to print in English and Spanish to put in the bags for the food bank on the following Monday.
English on one side, Spanish
English on one side, Spanish on the other.
Pretty amazing.
So.
Pretty amazing. Pretty amazing.
And the pews at Cross Point this past Sunday were full of food. So
Great.
that's exciting. So make sure that you're helping out with that vital ministry in the community, because clearly people are in need.
167.
Yeah, that's amazing. So keep that coming. All right, what you want us to end with today? We can't end on baked beans. It's not very, I don't know. Okay, here's a question for you.
Okay.
As you're watching the news.
A question.
As you're watching the practical. As you're watching the news and you're watching just really horrors that are going on around the world, and what do you do with that? All last week, I was at a loss for words. I found myself just, oh Lord, like you know the need. I couldn't put words to it.
You know, there's just some tragedies that are beyond words. And they're here in individual families. They're in Afghanistan over there. They're everywhere. The streets of our major cities. I mean, they're everywhere. We got right here in Bluffton, you got children being abused and people shot. But I think a part of the way I deal with that is the Lord didn't call me to minister in Afghanistan. He called me to minister right here in Bluffton. And I need to stay focused on my little patch and the people that the Lord has put, that I have a responsibility for. And as the book of James tells me, I will be held accountable.
Yes.
I can pray for the other, but I really can't impact on that in a way that I can impact on people's lives here. And I try not to get too deep into it because of that. If you get down under those clouds like that, you can't take care of your business. I mean, you just can't. Your mom and I don't watch as much of that stuff. We really don't. Paul Feinbaum is on Channel 33.
SEC football, that's a little bit, that's definitely.
Not ACC, SEC. And by the way.
Depends on who you talk to, it's the only football.
By the way, this Saturday.
Big game. For Georgia and Clemson. And then the next week is another big game. No, it's not until September, isn't it?
It's Labor Day weekend. No, that's not this weekend,
that's
is
not
it?
this weekend.
Well, anyway,
See, you're
college
having a
football
problem with
starts
dates,
this weekend.
too.
Anyway, college football is cranking up. The Tide will start rolling again. The Tigers will start rolling again. We'll find out what the Bulldogs are going to do and all that kind of stuff, And those, there's value in that, because that gives you a place to kind of escape for a while. Because in the great scheme of things, football doesn't, as rabid as fans are, in the great scheme of things, it's a game. See, what's going on in Afghanistan and on our streets and in our homes is not a game. So I have to be careful not to get too far over hiding in that stuff either.
Yeah.
So.
But definitely be praying for so many different needs, for sure.
But the point I'm trying to make is you can pray for those things, but don't be distracted away from what you can do something about. They can become hiding places too. But that's another story.
All right. Well, I know you've got
They tell me about an uncloudy day, so.
Okay. Look up uncloudy day. Maybe if I find
Willie
it in
Nelson.
Google, I'll put it in the comments.
Willie Nelson, uncloudy day. Okay. Oh, they tell me about an uncloudy day.
Okay. All right. Uncloudy day. Willie Nelson. put it in the comments. Y'all have a blessed week, lots of stuff going on. Hope to see you at services this weekend. If not, then if you don't feel comfortable or you're going to be out of town, you can always watch services online. That's not going to be changing. That's something that's going to be ongoing for us.
That's right.
That we can provide for you. So have a great week and go in peace to love and serve the Lord. Thanks be to God.
Thanks be to God. See you when I see you. Never doubt God's love for you or mine.